All right. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Katya.
Why did you decide to join VAM?
I think like a big reason was just knowing that like I could get insight into all different types of jobs, careers, experiences, and that was super, super important to like hear firsthand like what someone's experience was like outside of UVA. We just had super similar interests, so like it was just it was like the stars aligned. The platform that VAM provides is like you can really get a feel for what the person is interested in talking about ahead of time, and so I think it just adds a certain level of like comfort and accessibility that I feel like is so important for networking, especially when you're maybe a little bit timid about asking about a certain thing because you're not sure, or
Mhm.
just wanting to learn more. I think having that like kind of relaxed conversation is super important for that process.
For me, I joined VAM, I think it was close to 6 years ago. So I think I've been in this program or in some sort of mentorship capacity for the last 6 years. And part of the reason that I joined is because when I was an undergrad, when I was kind of trying to figure out what to do with my life, not even a job, but like what to do with my life, I talked to so many people and they were so incredibly helpful in sharing their experiences and kind of asking me questions about what I think. I'm like, wow, this feels very cool to be asked what I think. Right. And I wanted to confer that same sort of support and love and sort of respect for current and already now graduated UVA folks. And now we're wondering about the story, our origin story, how we first met. Would you mind if I read the message that you sent?
No, please, please.
Perfect. So Sam's message. Hi, Katya. My name is Sam Stapleton. I'm a student employee for the UVA Career Center. Woot woot, huge plug to UVACC. You said, I immediately gravitated towards your profile due to your emphasis on human-centered design approaches and focusing on the value of human stories. What I love specifically about your message, and I'm actually going to follow up with you on this, is my dream is to eventually run my own podcast or show where I could interview extraordinary and resilient individuals. And then you said, I'm really curious about what a people ops associate entails, which is exactly, I think, the fodder for our first conversation. It's like, what does people ops do? What does that mean? How do we kind of open the doors to talking about that? And to kind of, hone in on this gratitude piece, let's talk about what we're grateful for.
I mean, I think from like a career side of things, a simple trick that would have been so helpful, and I'm so thankful that I know it now as a result of like all of our conversations, is just like titles for jobs that like fit what you want to do. People operations specialist, associate, like just like all these little tips in terms of like how to go through your search process and like how to get spotted by recruiters on different platforms, like that's been super helpful. And so anybody that is considering having a conversation on VAM, like I think that is a question that is like so simple, right? Like what do I type in LinkedIn, right? But the reality is the profound impact that just that little piece of advice has had in my own like career journey has been incredible.
It's so fascinating hearing you bring up that point about the keyword searches, right, for job titles. I remember when I was in my fourth year and I was trying to figure out again what I wanted to do with my life. I was like, where do I even begin searching, right? Because I know, like, I also wanted to pursue things in HR, but I didn't even know that there was organizational development as a field or learning and development as a field. I was just like, well, HR is HR because that's what I knew back then, right? So the sort of like, I remember when I was being mentored, the sort of myopia lifted. I was like, oh, there's so much else to discover. But Sam, the focus is on you. It's what I'm grateful for about you. And I think that what it comes down to for me is just this connection that we've been able to build and continue growing over the past year and some. It's literally felt like way over a year. It's for like 2 or 3 or 5. But just your kind of openness to be able to be fully you and share your experiences, share your struggles, share your wins. Like, it makes me feel invited into your life, despite the fact that, we hadn't met for the first 8 or 9 months of knowing each other. It's like,
Right.
I feel like I know you. And it's just been so wonderful and full of gratitude to be able to have these regular conversations and chats with you. I'm going to see if I can actually pull up the picture for context, folks. Sam flew to LA to visit a couple of his friends, and then he's like, hey, Katya, guess where I'm at? And Sam's in Virginia. I'm in Los Angeles. And we met in Los Angeles. So this is me and Sam having a grand old time together. Any other words?
It just reminds me to always keep the people in your corner that like don't boo or nay anything that you want to do with your life. And I think having like positive role models and friends around you is super important. And I think that's something that VAM is particularly good about, because people that join the program want to help you. And I think that's something that really stuck with me when I was beginning to start with the program. Was, there was a sense of like security in that. Like, okay, yes, it can be a little scary to reach out to people. It can be intimidating. Do I have all my things together? Do I know what to say? But just, keeping a reminder that you are there to like support and connect with one another. And that's really, whether it's a a year or a month or whatever it ends up being, just trying to make those connections is really what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah. Because we're all bound by the fact that we are who's, right? And who's tend to support one another.